Hi, thank you for joining Excel Basics, where Excel is simplified. Today, we'll be going over tips and tricks that you could use to be a little quicker and more efficient when selecting multiple cells across a spreadsheet. If you've ever found yourself constantly scrolling or having to drag your mouse or the scroll bar way far down in order to select multiple cells, or have had to select cells, then do some cleanup work just to obtain the ones that you need, then this video is just for you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'd like to show you first is how to select a long range of cells quickly and efficiently. Now, what we have in front of us is a data set, a list of customers. Now, let's say we want to grab the top 3,200 customer names. How do we do that? Someone might suggest, well, maybe we could scroll all the way down and delete the bottom 1,800 records so that we stay with the remaining 3,200 that we want. Well, first off, that's going to take some time. You have to figure out how many you have to delete. Then you have to work upwards, delete those records. And second, what if you don't want to delete anything from the spreadsheet? What if you need all the data and all you're trying to do is just select the top 3,200? You might also say, well, if I want the top 3,200, I could click here and then just drag and then wait till we get to row 3,200. That's going to take a very long time, especially if you have to do this very often and frequently. That's going to be taking a lot of your time. So how do we do this quickly? What I'm going to do is click on the first cell here because I want the top 3,200. I'm going to scroll down to row 3,200 using this bar, okay, which is a lot quicker. And then simply, I'm going to hold the Shift key and click on row number 3,200. There you go. So you just highlighted the top 3,200 very quickly without having to scroll with your scroll wheel or anything like that, or having to drag your selections down. So it's a lot quicker again. Now, the cool thing about this too, using Shift and click, is if I wanted to expand this to the top 3,210, so to row 3,210, I could simply hold Shift again and then click on that name on that row. That's it. I could keep going if I want to, just don't let go of the Shift key. I could keep going down, down, one by one, or I could go by multiples, as long as I'm holding that Shift key. Cool thing about this too is if you ever need to deselect and you say, shoot, I already selected a lot of names, but I actually don't want these here in front of us. I actually want to go back to row 3,210. No problem. Again, go ahead and hold the Shift key and then simply click on the cell where you want your selections to end. So I'm going to click here on Andrew. There you go. If I wanted to keep going, I could do that. Again, hold Shift and just click on the next cell wherever I would like to end my selection. Could go here, could go one by one again, I could do multiples, etc. It's a very good tool or a very good key to utilize. That's the Shift key and your mouse. Now you might say, hey, you know what? We should expand customer name and include field of work within our selection. How can we do that? No problem. You would use the exact same key. So hold Shift and then click on the next column. So we're going to hit research and development over here. There you go. Now you have two full selections. Let's say you want to expand all the way to age. No problem. Again, hold the Shift key and then click on the age value here. There you go. And you could keep expanding if you like. Again, you could deselect the other way around. Go backwards, backwards if you want, backwards. No problem. Now you could go up, down, sideways. Could go here. I could go to the left, this way, wherever I click. as long as I am holding the Shift key. Okay. Now, sorry, keep getting this. Now, if you have this down, what you could also do if you want to select, let's say, Riley and her values to the right, if you just want to select that, you could again hold Shift and click, or you could do Shift down arrow. Simple as that. If you want to do one quick selection or maybe two, again, it's Shift down, 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 down. I could keep going if I want, or I could go right back up if I want to deselect with the up arrow, up and down. I could also do left arrow and flip my selections. So going left, left. So it's similar to Shift and click, but here we're doing Shift and arrow. All right. Now, one thing you might notice is when you use Shift and either arrow or click, when you make your selections, it captures all of the neighboring cells. For example, if I click on Genesis, I hit Shift and arrow, it's going to capture all the neighboring cells as I continue. I could do Shift and then click over here on city, right? So even though, let's say I want name and I want city, by using Shift, I'm capturing everything in between, and I don't want that. What if I just want customer name and city? How can I do that without capturing everything in between? Well, this is where we switch keys. Now instead of using the Shift key, we're going to use the Control key, also found on your keyboard. So let's say I want Genesis. Click on Genesis. Now I'm going to hold down the Control key on my keyboard. Then I'm going to go over to age. Let's say I want her age. Click on that. Let's say I also want city. I'm going to go ahead and click on that without letting go of the Control key. Now that I've made my selections, I could let go. And there you are. We have successfully selected customer name, her age, and city. You might say, hey, you know what? We should include gender as well. No problem. Let's go ahead and hold Control again and simply go ahead and click on her gender. If you want to deselect, do exactly the same thing. Sorry. Hit Control and click on the value that you want to deselect. Let's say I want to deselect age. I don't need it after all. No problem. Let me click. There you go. All right. So that's how you could use Control and click your mouse. The cool thing about this is you could copy whichever cells you've selected and then paste them on a new sheet, create a new list, create a new tab if you like. And the awesome thing is Excel knows not to capture the cells in between. For example, right now I've got customer name, Genesis, gender female, and then city, Monos or Monos. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I've got those three. So I could come over here to sheet 4, simply paste it. So as you can see, there are no other cells in between. It's just the name, gender, and city. And the cool thing is because Excel knows not to include the other cells in between, it puts the values right next to each other. So I'll do it again. This time I'll do it for Scarlett. Let's say I'll click on Scarlett, and then I want to include her field of work. I'll include her age and her country. Okay, now I could Control C to copy. Come over here, Control V to paste, and there you go. I've got her name, her area of work, age, and her country. Obviously, if you don't want to line these up, right, because they're different values, but I'm just giving an example of how they can be pasted, and Excel will put the values right next to each other. Another good thing about this using Control is, let's say you want Scarlett, but you also want Mila, you also want Jose and Luke. No problem. Go ahead and click on Scarlett, hit Control, hold it, click on Mila, Jose, Luke. Perfect. There you go. You've selected them. If you want to continue on down, no problem. Hit Control, and then you could click with your mouse, and you could actually drag as far as you would like. So I want to stop at row number 20 with Everly. There we go. Now I have all these names selected, starting from Scarlett to Everly. But you might say, well, you know what? I actually want to include the gender, and I actually want to include the age as well. How do I do it if I've selected all these already? No problem. Again, go ahead and hold Control, and then click on gender, and then drag your mouse down. And then for age, again, click here and then drag your mouse down. If I want to include country, no problem. Continue holding Control, click the country, and drag my mouse down. Same thing here if I want to. Now, if I want to deselect one of these, I could by doing the exact same thing. Hold Control and then highlight whichever cells I don't want. So let's say I don't need country after all, no problem. Holding Control, and then I'm going to drag. There you go. I don't need city either, no problem. Let me go ahead and drag, and done. Now when you copy, oh, sorry about that. Let me do it again. Say I'll grab this and grab this. Okay, I could copy and then paste over here, and similar to these records up here, it's going to only paste the cells that I've selected, not the ones in between, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now I've got these names, their ethnicity, and their country. So that's how Control Click works. Now, there are occasions where you need to select multiple neighboring columns, and you don't want to be scrolling down. You don't want to be scrolling all around the spreadsheet. So in that case, you would actually combine Control and Shift, and then you would use your arrows, your arrow keys. For example, let's say I want to select on this spreadsheet, I want to select rows starting from 200 and on. 200, 201, 2, 3, and on, right? Okay, but let's say I don't want all of the data starting from 200. I just want their name. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Skylar. I'm going to hit Control and Shift on my keyboard. I'm going to hold them down. And now I'm simply going to hit the down arrow on my keyboard. Boom. Automatically, I have selected everything after row 200. See, so this way you don't have to scroll. You don't have to use this here, right? I'm showing you so that you could see that all have been highlighted, but you don't have to use the scroll bar. You don't have to drag anything. Literally, you just click, Control Shift, down arrow. There you go. Let's say you want to start off on, I don't know, row 800, but this time you just want the country. No problem. Let me go ahead and click on the country. Again, Control Shift, down arrow. There you go. Now let's say you're like, well, it doesn't make sense to just have the country. Maybe I should also grab everything to the left of it. The name, the field of work, the gender, the ID, no problem. Again, Control Shift. This time you're going to hit the left arrow. There you go. Now you've got everything under row 800 from the left of G. Now you could do the same thing here, Control Shift down and then left, or you could do right. See, so you could switch off. And this is all starting from column C, either to the left or to the right using the left and right arrow. You could do Control Shift down. You could do Control Shift up. There's many ways you could do this. So Control Shift is definitely a go-to for me. I've used that a lot over the years when I want to just quickly grab a bunch of specific cells. right away. One of the things I do want to mention that you should be aware of is when you're using Ctrl Shift and your arrow keys, you want to make sure that your spreadsheet is, or your data set is clean. What do I mean by clean? Uh, Occasionally you might have a spreadsheet that somebody sends you, and it could be that that person did some filtering and then some clearing some of the contents, and then did some sorting, etc., and may have left some rows blank. So when you use Control Shift and down, I'll give you a quick example. I'm going to do it now. Control Shift down. Okay, so it makes it seem like we only have 32 names in this list, right? Because it automatically stopped here. But if we scroll down just a little bit, we have more data. So it stopped because there's a blank row here. So you have to be very careful when using Control Shift arrows. Make sure that there aren't any blanks. If there are, and you're aware of it, and you're okay with it, then you could easily bypass that by, again, holding Control Shift and hitting down arrow one more time. And there you go. In this example, I added multiple blank cells, or I'm sorry, multiple blank rows to show you that if you have many blank rows, it's going to be a pain in hitting Control Shift down, again, Control Shift down, Control Shift down, Control Shift. So that's going to be a big pain. So if you're okay with having blanks, instead of doing Control Shift down multiple times, I would suggest just click on the cell wherever you want to start. Let's say you want to start on row 10, Scarlet, and then grab the scroll bar, go all the way down if that's what you want to do. Hit the Shift key on your keyboard and select the last cell. Okay. Now I'm going to show you. Now you've captured all the values, all the customers, starting from where you selected. So instead of hitting Shift Control down, 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 it's a lot quicker to do it this way, but do remember that you are also capturing the blank cells, okay? So you could do it again. Let's say you want to start at row, I don't know, row 200, okay? You've got that. Let's say you also want research and development. No problem. Scroll all the way down, or if you want to stop, let's say row 500, you could hit the Shift key and click on the cell. And there you go. All right, so those are just some tips on things you could use to quickly select cells across Excel. So I'm hoping this helps someone out. If you enjoyed this video, please note that we will be uploading additional videos that are coming soon. So again, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and let's Excel together.